Correct. Interesting. So I'm sure you might have taken certain steps in order to, educate people more around that, right? So if you can
Absolutely.
highlight some points, or what are the key steps that
Sure.
you feel,
So, sure. So with God's grace, we got an opportunity to come on Shark Tank. And this happened on 2nd of February. For all your viewers, we were in episode 33. We've been talking about this for a long time. We've gone to doctors, physios, we talked to the trade. They understand the issue, but nobody really took it serious. But what's happened after Shark Tank, it's opened a Pandora's box. People are talking about these issues, right? This is a real issue, and this gave us the validation what we needed, because till then everything, it's a very niche market, very small market, it's not fundable, etc., etc.
Hi Rajiv, how are you doing today?
Thank you, man. Finally the rain's hitting Mumbai. I'm very glad we're gonna get a great monsoon, which is what the city is known for.
Right. Interesting. Amazing. So, before we start or delve into the set of questions, let me set the context of the discussion first. So, we'll be talking about how insoles enhance the whole footwear experience. And today we have Mr. Rajeev Surana, right, who is founder at Your Foot Doctor. Correct. So basically, before I delve into the set of questions, right? So I'll hand it over to you for you to introduce yourself or your journey till now,
Sure,
right? So
sure.
how it has so
So,
over to you.
thanks for having me, guys. It's been amazing, working with Startup Story, because I think it's very important to get the message out to as many entrepreneurs and the whole list of networks that we really try to engage with. Coming to our journey, essentially, this has been started by Trishla, my wife, and me. We are both partners in crime in this venture, Your Foot Doctor. Uh, so the point is, she's been always been fascinated with the foot, and how the anatomy of the foot and how ergonomics matter when you wear your footwear. And that is where the whole thought process around Your Foot Doctor, came into being. And to be honest, I come from a consulting background, and I've been working mostly with corporate clients. Uh, so the point is, when she wanted to do this, I was like, really, do you want to do this? Going to the dusty lanes of Nagpada and Kurla? I said, Krishna, this is not me. This is also not you. Why do you really want to get into all this? But she was extremely adamant and, very, very headstrong that, this is what she wants to do. And, I didn't have a choice at that point of time. I said, okay, let's do this together and let's see where this goes. So, fortunately, I think this has been her inner calling. And that's something which we really believe in, because the space we are addressing is completely, unaddressed. People are not aware. Nobody really talks about it, but it is extremely important. Just imagine, you wearing a pair of shoes which gives you shoe bite. You will dread wearing that whole pair of, the same pair again next time. Because, this is the way, we engage with the footwear in a very subconscious way. So that's what, the whole genesis of the brand of a doctor has been.
Correct. Correct. Interesting. So, can you give me an overview of the industry size and what are the market dynamics? Since you mentioned that,
Sure.
it is untapped. So I'm curious to know more about that.
Sure. So overall, if you look at the insole market globally, estimated it's about $3.5–4 billion. And if you look at the footwear market, that's also about the same size, both put together about $7 billion. But the bigger piece is, the insoles go into every pair of shoe typically that we wear, right? So the fact of the matter is that is the bigger market out there. So if we look at a broader level, macro level, globally, at a consumption of about 2 pair of shoes a year, it is 14 billion pairs a year. And what we realized, which really struck us also as founders, is that, when you buy your Nike, Skechers, any, brand, Bata also for that matter, there's not much thought which has been put into insole. And insole is what really, where you put your feet in, right? When you're wearing a shoe, everything matters, the construct and of the shoe as well. But what we are saying is the comfort essentially comes from the insole. So that's where you lay your feet. And that, is something which has not changed over the years, irrespective of how your shoes have become that much more stylish. And we have the Jordans of the world, which are sought after by the young kids. But the fact of the matter is the comfort and the experience originates from the insole, and that has not changed over the years. And that's Exactly the point. That's really the big picture that we're looking at. So on one hand, we have our insoles which we give to our consumers, which they can buy online or offline. But on the other hand, we are trying to collaborate with brands and see how we can enhance the experience of the shoes. And that is what will be the bigger picture, the game changer as we are looking.
Correct, correct. Interesting. So there are two aspects to it, as you mentioned. Like one is, where consumers can go online and buy their insoles, right? And second one is collaborating with brands. Is something I believe is quite interesting, right? Now, when you compare the Indian market with the world, so how mature do you think is the Indian market as compared to the rest of the world?
See, I would have to say that India is extremely nascent in this, journey, more or less. We come across a lot of customers who are very finicky about the footwear, what they wear, but a lot of them tend to get this from abroad because they still don't get the same experience in India. And I think there's got to do primarily with two things. One is that the market is still, more around fashion and style. Um and second is complete lack of awareness across the entire value chain.
Correct.
Imagine you go and walk into a footwear retail outlet and you say, let's say you have some kind of foot issue, you know, like flat feet we talk about, 4 out of 10 Indians have, or especially women and, middle-aged people, they have a lot of, heel pain, which is called plantar fasciitis. They don't have anything to sell to you because the market is not differentiated, neither are they trained to deal with it. So we've seen this ourselves firsthand when we go into any brand outlet, of let's say even Metro, for example, they, women or, senior citizens or even youngsters can have a lot of issues. They come in and they ask for some comfortable footwear or something with a specific issue. They just go and sell what they have. And India, you have to understand the only concept which has been, sold and which has got ingrained in people's mind, soft hona chahiye, gaddadar hona chahiye. You sleep on a soft mattress. That is what they're trying to replicate in shoes, but they don't understand that is not how it works
Correct.
because of the the dynamics. Your feet is the foundation. So not only do you need it to be soft and cushiony, but it also needs to have a firm surface so that you can have stability. So that understanding is completely missing in the market, and we are out here to really change that.
Correct. Interesting. So I'm sure you might have taken certain steps in order to, educate people more around that, right? So if you can
Absolutely.
highlight some points, or what are the key steps that
Sure.
you feel,
So, sure. So with God's grace, we got an opportunity to come on Shark Tank. And this happened on 2nd of February. For all your viewers, we were in episode 33. The brand is of Foot Doctor and the company is Kalami Mat Private Limited. Go and check it out. So what happened is that we've been talking about this for a long time. We've gone to doctors, physios, we talked to the trade. They understand the issue, but nobody really took it seriously. But what's happened after Shark Tank, it's opened a Pandora's box. People are talking about these issues, right? And a lot of people from around the world, reached out to us, and that is very heartening. And that also includes people from, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, UK, and that really thought us thinking that this is a real issue, and this gave us the validation what we needed, because till then everything is a very niche market, very small market, it's not fundable, etc., etc. But this really opened the Pandora's box, gave us the validation that we needed. And what we are also doing post that is we are now engaging more and more with customers. We are a D2C brand, so we're out there. We run a YouTube channel. We talk about these issues. One of our videos hit 50K, which is on heel pain. So 50K views for a stuff like this is I think incredible. So the point is, we are getting that engagement, but as you know, being an early mover, being a pioneer, you have to really go through this entire journey, and you have to be very patient. And that's one thing we realize. Things are not going to change overnight, but we keep at it. We create awareness. We work across with different, stakeholders, and things will be very different in the next 5 years.
correct. Right. Rightly said. So now, what are the key driving factors for the industry in India? Like, you mentioned that it is at a very nascent stage, right? So what are the key factors that are playing a crucial role in this industry?
So I think Gen Z has an extremely important role to play because they make very informed choices, well traveled, online all the time, so they know what's going on globally as well. So the point is, I believe, that along with Indians who now are more aware and conscious in terms of traveling abroad. And as I said, a small subset are really finicky about their footwear. And that is something we see growing over a period of time, because you can wear the most comfy clothing, but if your footwear is not comfy, we know what happens, right? You will have a miserable, date night, or you may be on your party and whatnot. So the point is, we are at a tipping point, given the dynamics of the Indian market, given the awareness that is building in. It's a matter of few years, as I said, where this will happen. So what we are doing is we have a dual pronged strategy. On one end, we are interfacing with the customer directly. We've been primarily doing this online, but we realize the majority of the market for this lies offline, right? So when you want to buy your favorite pair of shoes, or even slippers, people are comfortable going and trying it out. You can't replace that experience, right? So the fact is, we are driving ourselves to go where the consumers are going in terms of footwear stores, in terms of sports outlets, where people really go and buy these things. So what happens? The engagement is there with the customer. We can create awareness in a much better manner. We are bringing in, foot analytics in place, so that we can make people understand, how does the foot ergonomics and dynamics affect your whole shoe wearing experience, and if they have any issue. So that is one that's happening as we speak. And on the other hand, as I mentioned, we are selecting, in a selective way, we are partnering with shoe brands to help improve the shoe experience that people have when they buy their, particular brand of shoe. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of brands out there. How are they going to differentiate beyond the point? So insoles will become a key differentiator. Will, as one of the founders told me, I was interacting with early this week, that we want to make insole the hero of our shoes, right? So the fact of the matter is, that is where we will be doing this in a more scalable manner, partnering with those brands, so we can reach out to millions of customers directly. And I think this is a dual pronged strategy. That
correct. Rightly mentioned, right? So you have touched upon a bit on this point as well, but what are the key challenges that are faced by the consumers today?
So one big challenge we see in Indian market is you don't have half size, right? So you get a shoe size 8, you get a shoe size 9, and imagine you are 8.5. You're stuck in between, because 8 is too tight, 9 is too loose. But what typically जब आप जाते हैं, the sales guy is very well aware of this. He'll say कि आप 8 ले लीजिए, वो खुल जाएगा, आप पहनेंगे तो खुल जाएगा, and you'll be fine with it, and you buy into that theory. So the consumer faces these kind of practical issues, and India is still not ripe for a half a size market, because imagine their inventory will have to be doubled.
Correct.
4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5. That's a lot. So the point is, that is something we don't see will change, but our insoles can really make the difference. Again, as a consumer, you are not geared up to wear insoles. So आपको तो पता ही नहीं है, sales वाले को भी नहीं पता कि ये हम डाल के उसको 9 को 8.5 बना सकते हैं, right? So this is one. The other thing is, the market typically till now has been around how your footwear looks, but people don't understand the ergonomics of the feet. Matters when you buy a footwear. It should typically mimic it. Like, for example, if I have broad feet, I shouldn't be wearing something which is very narrow, so pointed, like formal or dress shoes. It's gonna crunch my toe, and if my toes are crunched and not rested, what happens at the end of the day when you come back home? It's miserable.
Correct.
Right. Similarly, women wearing a lot of very, very poor fitting, sandals. A lot of time you'll see women walking on the road, their foot is out of the footwear. It's not giving them any grip or any support. Excuse me, footwear is not just worn for, style. Footwear is supposed to support your feet. We don't understand, all body pressure and weight is on the foot. So it should be able to lift your feet, and it should be able to support it well, so you don't sprain yourself. You don't get into fracture situations. Again, these are all serious issues which are interlinked, but nobody gets it. Like example, I am flat-footed, severely flat-footed, I'm bow-legged, right? If you're flat-footed, either you're bow-legged or you're knock-knee, where your knees touch each other. I'm bow-legged, and I'm a marathon runner for like 15 years. And trust me, nobody told me that I'm flat-footed. And you know what would happen? I would wear the best of shoes, but whenever I used to run, my feet would trip. And I would be, I would have stability issues, and I was wondering what's going on. Till we got into this venture, and then Trishla told me this is the issue. And ever since I started wearing insoles with our support, which makes sure that I'm stable. We get calls from moms, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, who are not able to stand on their feet. You know why? Because they're flat-footed. And this is a genetic issue as well. It can be corrected till the age of 8. You can reverse their arch. Again, where is the awareness? And the biggest issue, there is no foot assessment which happens in this country, even globally.
Correct.
It's not something when you go for a body checkup. Even a kid has checkup in the school. His eyes are checked, his teeth are checked. But what about the foot? And you're on your foot all the time, whether you're playing sports, walking, running, right?
Correct.
So we are trying to bring in foot assessment also in place. So we are trying to create this whole ecosystem around this.
Correct. That's quite intriguing and interesting perspective that you put right there, right? So now that brings me to my next question. What is the solution that you are offering, and how is it different from other players in the market? So
Sure.
First thing would be, are there any other players who are offering similar solutions? If yes, then how are you guys?
See, we'll be very honest. It's not that insoles have not existed, or foot care solutions are not available. Dr. Scholes is a pioneer right out there globally also.
Correct.
But the point is, it's our approach, it's a mindset. We are not just trying to sell a product, like just sell insoles, right? We are trying to look at this holistically, whether it means we need to get into foot assessment, whether we need to launch exercisers, because people with flat feet, plantar, there are a lot of people, I don't know if you've heard, first thing when they get up in the morning and they put the feet on the ground, they get what is called shooting pain, which is severe heel pain. So there are a lot of these things which happen, but people have lived with this all their lives because they've not got the right solution. So I'm not just saying selling one product will solve all the problems. It's not a miracle out there. But you need a holistic approach, which is what we're bringing in. So we're selling insoles. Next, we're launching heel pads just for your heel area, because heel is the most vulnerable and most supple part of your feet. And that's why people get a lot of pain, especially people who want to, media jobs, teachers, sales guys, who are on the feet all the time, standing all the time. That's where all the pressure comes. So again, that's something that we are launching next. And as I said, we are looking at a very holistic 360-degree approach. We're looking at foot assessment. So we're partnering with a company where we can actually make very affordable foot assessment systems, because the systems available internationally cost lakhs of rupees. Now, if I have to put this in any footwear or sports store, how many people can afford this? Who's going to bear the cost? So I have to look at this in a very holistic manner. Then again, we are looking at, as I said, people have a lot of issues, right, with the foot and the lower body. And so we have to understand the foot is the mirror of your body. So my foot pain will go into my ankle, knee, back, neck, postural issues. So we are trying to look at this in a very 360-degree perspective and say, can we do exercise or machines? Can we look at posture, solutions? So it's a very dynamic situation, and that's why it's very difficult to classify us as a company. Right now, we call ourselves as a footwear company. So the point is, we are going to be way, way beyond that, because we are really looking at things, in a very disruptive manner. And one thing is linked to the other, right? So as I said, if you're flat-footed, what happens is you don't have the arch. All of us have arch on our feet. Why do we need arch? Because it acts as a spring mechanism, shock absorber. Right? So whatever shocks come from the ground is taken by your arch. Now imagine if you don't have arch, instead of this, it's this. It will keep hitting you. And then what will happen? That pain will travel across your body. Again, no understanding of this.
Correct.
So what happens is you need to deal with it at a very intrinsic level, which is what we're doing. That's where our solutions will differentiate us from anybody out there, because people are very siloed in their thinking. Typically, they'll solve one problem, but we're saying, hey, things are interlinked. So tomorrow I have to go and do something for posture. I'll do that. As I said, we need to do first assessment. I'll do it, because if I don't have a foot assessment system, and tomorrow imagine you walk into any store, you will not trust the sales guy. He'll say, yaar, ye to sales ke liye बेचने के लिए कर रहा है, right? That's how we normally think. ये तो कुछ नया ज्ञान दे रहा है मेरे को भाई, क्या ऐसा क्या चीज है मेरे को नहीं पता, right? Because again, it's Google generation. We think we know it all. So this is the approach.
Correct. Interesting. So what was the impact of COVID on the industry? Like typically in your industry basically that you operated.
I think it was absolutely a boon for us, because see, the genesis of the brand was being into lifestyle, a market. So we pivoted from being a lifestyle, company to being a health and wellness company. And the reason is, when we went and spoke to as many customers out there Pre-COVID, we used to do a lot of exhibitions. We've done Pan India. We've gone to Dubai, Milan, Istanbul. We represented Government of India in Innovation Fair. So we learned a lot. And then we realized that this pain is something which nobody is addressing. लगता है चलो ठीक है पेन है बाम लगा लो डॉक्टर के पास चले जाओ but it was not solving people's problem. So after COVID, what happened is we had to take the whole model online. And thanks to that, now we have a whole solution available online. You're probably the only company in the world which is giving a customized insoles as per your foot profile, doing this whole solution online. We have an app which is right now available on Android. So once we get an order for a customized insole, the customer downloads the app and we take 5 minutes of their time to capture their data, including the photos and a gait, which is the, how they walk. And we are able to deliver the insoles to them shipped in 24 hours. We could do this because of COVID. So yes, COVID hit things for everyone, but the point is what did we learn from this? And I think the most important thing is you need to be resilient and you need to be ready for any situation today. Today it can be war, tomorrow it can be another pandemic, who knows? We live in very disruptive time. So your business model needs to be disruptive, needs to account for all of this. Correct. And that's what we've done. So today we are not dependent on any channel to that extent, right? From our website, and people are able to, order anywhere in the world. And we are proud to say we've had customers globally who are very happy with our solution and much more cost effective because again, you're cutting through the layers.
Correct. That's quite interesting. The whole concept of D2C is that itself, right? You're cutting through the layers and basically you are reducing the cost, right? Correct.
But also you need to understand it's a challenge because customers don't accept it. It's a psyche. आप बोलोगे कि यार ये ऑनलाइन कैसे कर रहे हैं जो जिंदगी भर लोग जाके डॉक्टर के पास या basically कोई क्लिनिक में जाके काम हो रहा है. Not that we don't have that model. So we are omnipresent. But I'm saying it takes time, the acceptance. So we are also there in a Saifi hospital in Mumbai, for example. We have a lot of physio clinics where we have the solution available.
Correct.
So the point is, you have to give people reach. You have to make it accessible, convenient. What people can't travel? What if there are people with, old age issues or could be, other kind of functional issues? So we have to factor all that.
Correct. So, you have been in this market since past few years, maybe, right? So
Sure.
How has the market evolved over the past few years? If you can, highlight.
Sure. So definitely it's been challenging. I'll be very honest. As founders and Trishla, we keep talking about this day in and day out. See, when you're trying to grow a market, it's not easy. It's, we are very passionate about what we do. Hence, we persisted. But at the end of the day, that's what pays off. So what happens is slowly the shift starts happening. That's what we're seeing now. So in very early days, but still we're seeing that shift. And again, a business model needs to be very adaptable, which is what we, spoke about earlier. That how we're looking at the back end of the market, the B2B market, working with the shoe brand, which typically nobody does. Right. Like I'm a front end guy or I'm a back end guy. Why can't there be both? I can have, that level of robustness in my model. So what's happening is now the problem has been there. The solution's not been available in a manner which people can consume easily. So you have a lot of local players, even in Bombay, there are some old footwear store where if you go, if you have a problem, they have no knowledge, but they will just put something on your, on sandals, and which is like art support, which is very crude, rudimentary way of doing those things. But those things people live with. But the point is, there is need for a solution like us, which is omnipresent across different channels. And as I said, offline is extremely important. So this is where, we are now scaling up, and we are also going to be working with a larger format. So we are coming to Santro stores in Hyderabad. They have 36 stores. So it gives me reach to all those customers. And similarly, we'll go with other, chains as well. So that's the way, you need to be out there for customers to see, appreciate you. But definitely the shift is happening, and our customers are the one who driving it. And that's also the reason we've come on Tyke's platform for fundraising. So after Shark Tank, we had a lot of customers who were very touched with what we're doing. Said, nobody's addressing this issue the way you are. Why don't we invest in your company? So that was like a huge leap of faith. And we said, great. Why do I need to go to traditional investors? I can crowdfund and I can build a community. And that's exactly what we're doing. So as we speak, we are still live on Tyke. almost through our fundraising goals. So it's a great opportunity for, any customer, evangelist, well-wisher, and people who believe in us to invest in our company with as low as 5,000 rupees on techinvest.com. So that's the way we operate in a very dynamic fashion.
Correct. Quite interesting. So that brings me to my last question. Like, where do you position yourself in the next 3 years, maybe? So you said you have pivoted from something to a wellness company, right? So now, where do you position yourself in the next 3 years?
Sure. So it's definitely, a dynamic, market, and we are still, in the midst of creating a very robust business model. But we believe now we've cracked that secret formula in terms of how we should operate, what we should be doing. A lot of it will get implemented in this financial year. And basis the data we have, basis the numbers we have, we will basically focus on those things. But we definitely want to be a very significant player, extremely tech and innovation driven. We are very, very clear about it. And we see a lot of opportunities out there. So I would like to, also share with the viewers, like we are looking at things like what need does the army have, for example, because the soldiers are the one who are in extreme weather conditions and they need to be on the foot all the time. What kind of shoes they wear, what issues they face, how can I reinforce that with my insole or other solutions? How do I work with such, brands? So just 2 days back, somebody reached out to me saying that I supply to army in the Northeast region. They do foot powders because they have infection, the risk of infection. So they use that. So, what I'm saying is we're looking at a lot of dynamic opportunities like that. Similarly, we are targeting sports in a big way. So we are trying to now work with a Kabaddi league. You'll be very interested to know Kabaddi players never used to wear shoes. But now it's mandatory for them to wear shoes on the line of what wrestling players wear. So we've actually bought those shoes and now we are experimenting to see how we can get our insoles into it, which can enhance player performance. So as I speak, it's a very dynamic situation. We will evolve tremendously, but we figured out what this market is and we are looking at very, very specific opportunities and we are going to create a lot of verticals around it. So we could have one vertical which is just sports, one which is pain, one which is related to, defense. So this way will open up a lot of opportunities for ourselves. And as we see, the sky's the limit because we are not limited to insole, but insole is a key driving factor and it will basically help us really evolve to the next level. So it's going to be interesting, but we have targets in line and which we want to really go and achieve because we really worked hard to understand this market. We made a lot of mistakes. We have huge amount of insights. Now is the time for us to take off.
Correct. Interesting. Rightly said, right? So you have a lot of learnings in your kitty and experience that you bring in, right? Being in the market for so long, right? And trying different things, correct? So that's quite interesting. And yeah, the work that you are doing is pretty amazing. So all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Okay. It was
all
nice.
Right, so yeah, pleasure. Coming and sharing our views. I hope it reaches as many viewers as it can because that's really what is required. Awareness and being out there talking to more and more people. That's exactly what we're doing post Shark Tank and now being on TIE. We need to create that community. I think that is the most important thing. That's something I would like to tell your viewers. We're looking at building a community. So if you think you can help us in any way, you want to critique our product, you want to be part of our journey, any way possible, please reach out to us. And we are very, very happy to onboard as many people as possible in our mission. And again, our mission is, move without discomfort. So that's exactly what we stand for. We want you to move without any discomfort and, be on your feet, be out there all the time.
Correct. All right. Thanks, Rajeev.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye-bye. Have a good day.